Hey YouTubers, this is Charlie. Time for a new Game of Thrones Q&A. Just careful for spoilers for everything that's happened on the show so far. So here we go, let me look at my questions here. Lots of questions about Cleganebowl, lots of questions about Jon Snow saying that he's not coming back. So here we go. Emma Dobson asks, say you're a male bastard in Westeros, you've got a name like Snow or Waters. If the woman you marry has a family name, do you have to take hers, or do your kids have bastard names even though their parents are married? I would say generally, unless you become legitimized through this act of marriage, she would have to take your bastard name, and your children would also have your bastard name. Most of the logic behind bastard names comes from Western Europe, and that really just applies to the marital status of the parents. So like even if you're a royal bastard, you're still a bastard, you get the bastard name. So there have been times in the past when two Targaryens within the royal bloodline have cheated on their other Targaryen spouses with Targaryens. So imagine half of the Targaryen royal family being married to the other half, and on the side they also swing within the family. Any children born of any of those unions would be bastards and would have the Waters name. Next question, Joshua asks, did Ian McShane just confirm Cleganebowl 2016? Well, that also requires you to have to jump through a couple hoops. What he did confirm is that he's probably playing the elder brother, which we all kind of thought. I did a Gravedigger video back in November last year, so it kind of explains why Ian McShane is probably the elder brother on the Quiet Isle, and that is where we'll see the character that he might be bringing back, trying to be as non-spoilery as possible. I'll put a link for that in the description too. You can read all about it. If you know the Gravedigger theory, then yeah, he is probably totally coming back. As for Cleganebowl though, he'd have to come back first, and then they would have to go back to King's Landing. So it depends on how soon he comes back, which episode that is, and how soon they plan on having the Trial of the Faith. I'm really hoping we see the trial by the end of the season. But Gravedigger and Cleganebowl are two different theories, but I think the best way to put it is to say that all Ian McShane confirmed is the Gravedigger theory. But we might get Cleganebowl. There's not quite as much evidence for Cleganebowl in the books as there is for Gravedigger theory. But if you want to believe Cleganebowl, I don't want to pour any water on that. It's still totally possible. Next question, Michael asks, do you think that Jon would be able to ride a dragon with Ghost, man's best friend, at his side? Well, I don't know if Jon will actually end up riding a dragon, but I do think it'd be possible. It's something that gets passed down through the bloodline. There are a couple of hoops that you have to jump through before that become possible. They'd have to confirm that he actually is part Targaryen, but it's a lot more complicated than riding a horse. The science of dragon bonding isn't something they've explained in great detail, but if you've ever read the short story The Princess and the Queen, it's a Targaryen civil war that happened a long time ago. They talk a little bit about dragon bonding if you want to read into that. Next question, Paul asks, are we to believe that Varys does or does not know about the upcoming battle with the White Walkers? Is he trying to find the best leader for the Seven Kingdoms, or the best leader against the White Walkers, or is it both? I would say definitely both. He just wants to make the realm stronger. He really hates magic. I would think that anyone that believes in magic is open to possibilities, but as someone in a position of power who knows that there are supernatural things that it's going to take a strong realm to survive, he's just looking out for what he thinks is the best interest of the realm. That speech that he had at the beginning of season 5 says it all. You know, someone that the people will love and rally behind, and someone who's strong enough to lead. Robert Baratheon is a good example of someone who only had one of those two qualifications. Two really important qualifications: good leader and someone everyone likes. Everyone liked Robert Baratheon, but he was a terrible leader. Next question, James asks, why didn't Jon Arryn tell Robert Baratheon about Cersei and Jaime, about the twincest? This question probably more relevant for book readers. Not necessarily. They talk about Jon Arryn during the series. I would think that he was going to, he just got killed before he did. They did explain during season 4 of the TV show that Littlefinger convinced Lysa Arryn to kill Jon Arryn, probably because Littlefinger knew about the twincest and was working a long con, didn't want Jon Arryn to plunge the realm into chaos before Littlefinger was ready. Varys would have probably also supported that plan too. He would have eventually wanted to get rid of the Lannisters too, but only once his replacement candidate was ready to take the throne. Next question, Ami White Wolf asks, I just hope we get to see Rhaegar's son Aegon in the series, if he indeed lived from being switched. Where you're talking about a couple book things that I don't think the TV show is going to do. So in the books, there's the young Griff character who is secretly supposed to be Aegon, the lost son of Rhaegar, who was switched at birth so that the baby that the mountain dashed against the wall was someone else. His role in the narrative right now is to be another challenger to the throne. There are several challengers, like Daenerys is a challenger to the throne of Westeros. Aegon comes along in the books, and it looks like he might try to supplant Tommen. What they might do on the show, because I don't think they're going to be doing young Griff on the TV show, is if they really want a character like that, another surprise candidate for the throne, someone with a legitimate claim. It would be a surprise Targaryen. It'd be very easy for them to use the R+L=J Jon Snow, Jon Targaryen candidate for the throne, but only after some massive victories and big White Walker battles that we have not seen yet. So that's assuming a lot of things. I'm just assuming they're going to skip over that storyline altogether, and it'll be Daenerys. Like, Daenerys will march in, and it'll be a situation where, like, half the citizens in Westeros support her, and the other half still support Tommen, and it'll be a Game of Thrones between the two of them. But that's a long ways off in the distance. There's still so much intrigue going on in King's Landing right now, especially with Cersei and Marjorie. Next question, Alberto asks, do you think that the writers and George R. R. Martin put in some dialogue to throw off the watchers and readers? You're talking about like intentionally misleading dialogue? No, I don't think they're trolling people. I do think that there are things that get misinterpreted. One of the big things that we've learned on Game of Thrones, both in the books and on the show, is that what you learn about history depends on who is telling you that history. So certain people remember certain events certain ways. If you asked Robert Baratheon what Rhaegar Targaryen was like, he would say he's a stone-cold murderer and a rapist. But when Daenerys asked Barristan Selmy what her brother was like, he said, oh, he was an amazing musician. Sometimes we would get rip-roaring drunk, go to Flea Bottom, and the money that he would collect from people throwing coppers at him, he would donate to charity. So when characters are talking about other characters, especially events that happened in the past, really important events, you have to take that with a grain of salt. There's really only a couple of characters we know that can see history as it actually unfolded, but they're probably going to address that on the TV show, so I don't want to get too spoilery. Next question, George asks, what do you think about Kit Harington coming out in an interview saying that he is indeed in Season 6, but only as the corpse of Jon Snow? Do you think he's just lying to give one more attempt to surprise us, or maybe he's telling the truth? This is also one of those sweet summer children things where you have to take it with a big grain of salt. Most of you who follow Hollywood news are probably used to directors and actors lying about what's going to happen. One of the more famous examples that you probably remember is when J.J. Abrams was asked, is Benedict Cumberbatch playing Khan in the new Star Trek movie? This was several years ago. And J.J. Abrams, in front of a bunch of journalists, flat out said, no, he's not playing Khan. Khan's not in the movie. He flat out lied to the press. Standard operating procedure is non-disclosure. So when actors are blindsided by people, when they say, hey, is your character still alive? Usually the default mode, and the studios support this, is for them to lie. Tell them whatever you want to tell them, just don't spoil it. Say anything you want. It's not like HBO is going to get mad at Kit Harington for lying and saying that he's dead and never coming back. The second part of that, though, is reading between the lines. So like when HBO says, as far as the producers, talking about Dan and Dave, have told us, Jon Snow is dead. So when they say dead is dead, he's dead, he's bled out. But when the fans say he's coming back, that's because we think he's going to be resurrected. You can't be resurrected if you're still alive. You have to die first. So that's why, yeah, it's okay that he's dead. HBO has said that he's dead. No one is lying about that. It's just that we think that he is coming back. And there's a lot of stuff to support that. I've probably talked about it a bunch of times, but I'll put a link for my resurrection video in the comments, just explaining all the ways that people have been resurrected in A Song of Ice and Fire. There's more than one way people have been brought back. Thank you everyone for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. Like I said, the DVD comes out next week. Hopefully that's when the trailer drops. If it doesn't, we can all riot. Everybody riot if the trailer doesn't drop. And I should say congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Alejandro Serrano. You win an Amazon gift card for the DVD set. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. I'll start a new round whenever I post my next Game of Thrones video. So they're really old videos. I made them last year a long time ago, but you can click here to learn more about Resurrection in the Song of Ice and Fire, and you can click here to learn about the Gravedigger theory. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.